Here is everything you need to know about the character, Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka was a Togruta species and was born on the planet Chile in 36 BBY. You can see her as a young child in the short show Tales of a Jedi, and you can see in the show how impulsive she is even as a young kid. Her mother was her teacher in her early age until she was able to tame a beast, where she then developed herself as Force sensitive. Her family saw this action and recognized her future would be as a Jedi.
Ahsoka is Jedi.
She then was brought to Coruscant by Jedi Master Plo Koon at the age of 3. While we don't get the chance to see much of this on screen, she spends her youngling years in the Jedi Temple under Master Yoda's guidance. The next we see Ahsoka is actually when she's 14 years old and she's sent by Yoda to assist Anakin and Obi-Wan in the Battle of Christophsis. This battle took place in the Clone Wars movie that released in 2008 and was technically her first on-screen appearance. To give you an idea of the timeline, this was shortly after the movie Attack of the Clones. Once she arrived, she was then assigned to become Anakin Skywalker's Padawan. Anakin was extremely frustrated about this decision and he did not want a Padawan. He felt Ahsoka would only slow him down. This caused a lot of issues between the two of them and a lot of arguments as well. He even nicknamed her Snips because of the snippy attitude she actually had in the beginning. While it might have been a rough start, throughout the Clone Wars we actually get to see the growth of Anakin and Ahsoka's relationship. They went through many battles together, and you see that Anakin really takes her under his wing throughout time, and it leads to a very special friendship between the two of them. In Tales of a Jedi, we actually see a flashback episode where we see the intensity Anakin put Ahsoka through to train her. Most Padawans would train with the training droids, but Anakin did not believe in this. He felt it was way too easy. Instead, he wanted her to train versus their own clone troopers with their weapons set to stun. Little did she know, this exact scenario would play out for real in Order 66. She failed and failed again, but it only made her stronger and it drastically set her apart from the other Padawans. In Season 3 of the Clone Wars, Ahsoka has a vision of Anakin's future. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka get stuck on a planet named Mortis and where they meet what is called the Ones. These are the three gods of the Force, the son who represented the dark, the daughter who represented the light, and the father who represented balance between the two. The planet was extremely strong with the Force, and Ahsoka has a vision of her future self warning her that she will never be able to reach her full potential if she remains Anakin's Padawan, and that there is also a dark side to him. Ahsoka was naive and refused to believe this about her master. Shortly after these visions, the Son gained control of Ahsoka, and Ahsoka attacked Anakin and Obi-Wan until she was put to her death by the Son. The son then, after killing Ahsoka, went to kill the father as well, but the daughter intervened, saving the father and herself dying in the process. Before her final moments, the daughter transferred all her remaining life force into Ahsoka to save her. As her final act, the daughter then became a protector of Ahsoka through a convoy bird named Morai. Morai follows Ahsoka throughout the years of her life, including her making an appearance in The Mandalorian Season 2. Anytime you see this bird or hear this sound, it indicates Ahsoka is nearby. During Season 5 of the Clone Wars, Ahsoka was framed for bombing the Jedi Temple. Somebody had framed Ahsoka for doing this, and it led to Ahsoka feeling extremely lost on who to trust. Because of this false accusation, she was expelled from the Jedi Order and imprisoned on Coruscant, all because of this. She tries to later escape to prove her innocence and then flees to the underworld of Coruscant to go into hiding. She didn't want to be around anybody and she didn't trust anybody. It was hard. This was a pivotal moment in the Clone Wars since it really gave an in-depth look at how the Jedi really weren't so perfect after all. However, there was one Jedi who believed she was not guilty, and I'm pretty sure you can guess who that was. Anakin. He was not going to let his Padawan take the fall for something she did not do. So you may ask, what did he do? He proved the Council wrong. He exposed the true villain, Barriss Offee. Offee was charged and the Jedi Council apologized for the accusations they made against Ahsoka. The Council even offered her to return as the Jedi, but Ahsoka declined as it completely broke her trust in them. She couldn't go back, not after all the things that just happened. Ahsoka then leaves the Jedi Order and also leaves Anakin. Anakin begged her not to leave and to consider him in all of this and to consider him in her decision. After further talk, he admits he understands why she would want to walk away from the Order, and Ahsoka's final words to Anakin is,
I know.
While it was a heartbreaking moment, it opened a lot of fans' eyes to how the Jedi were not perfect, and it also made Ahsoka's new journey a lot more interesting. The next we see Ahsoka is in Season 7 of the Clone Wars, where she's approximately the age of 17. This was a very difficult step for her since she now had to learn how to live life outside of the Jedi Order. And throughout this time, she experiences a lot of new challenges. While in the underworld of Coruscant, she befriends two sisters named Trace and Rafa. She helps these two, and during her time assisting them, she is actually spied on by the Mandalorian Bo-Katan. But why? Bo-Katan needed help. She eventually approaches Ahsoka to ask for her aid in helping her reclaim her homeworld, Mandalore, because the planet is under the rule of Darth Maul. To answer your question, yes, Darth Maul survived this. Ahsoka agrees to help Bo-Katan, but they lack numbers, so they contact the Republic for assistance. This leads to the reunion of Anakin and Ahsoka.
Hello, Master. It's been a while.
Although they arrive for help, Anakin treat this moment very special to see Ahsoka again. Captain Rex of the 501st and the rest of the battalion all repainted their helmets to Ahsoka's face symbols to show how much they missed her. It was a very sweet moment, and Anakin even surprises Ahsoka by giving her brand new lightsabers since she left her previous sabers behind. These brand new sabers are blue and were personalized by Anakin as a gift to her. Unfortunately, this wholesome moment comes to an end when an alarm goes off indicating that Chancellor Palpatine has been kidnapped. This exact moment takes place minutes before Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan and Anakin leave to save the Chancellor, but Ahsoka is not abandoned. In fact, they allow her to lead a small part of the 501st, calling this battalion the 332nd Company.
Anakin. Good luck.
Captain Rex and the rest of the troopers assist Ahsoka in the fight against Maul, and in the final episodes of Clone Wars, Maul faces off against Ahsoka and informs her that he has foreseen the future of Anakin Skywalker and that he is the key to everything, and that he will become Darth Sidious's apprentice. Similar to previous moments, Ahsoka refuses to believe anything like this against Anakin and tells Maul that he is in fact wrong. She informs him that she knows Anakin, and that his vision is flawed. The two will duel and Maul is beaten by Ahsoka, leading to him being captured. Ahsoka and Bo-Katan part ways, and Ahsoka and the 332nd bring Maul back to Coruscant for trial. Little did they know, everything would change. On the way to Coruscant, the time has come. Order 66 is executed, and Ahsoka senses Anakin. She senses pain, darkness.
What have I done?
Anakin.
Ahsoka tries to go right to Rex to tell him she sensed Anakin, but it was too late. Most clones had no hesitation executing Order 66, but Rex was different. In this moment, he had a tear in his eye, almost if he was trying to hold himself back, because he knew something was right. He knew this wasn't him. Rex tells Ahsoka to find Fives and attempts to shoot his blaster at Ahsoka. Story time. Fives was a clone trooper that was actually able to discover the secret of the inhibitor chips inside the clones' heads. If you do not know, the inhibitor chips is what caused the clones to commit Order 66. He was able to have his removed and was extremely close to exposing the secret, but he was silenced by Chancellor Palpatine and killed by Clone Commander Fox. Okay, back to it. Rex had told Ahsoka to find Fives, but what could this possibly mean if he's already dead? That's what Ahsoka wants to find out, but has to fight off the other clones first. She does so by using the same moves Anakin taught her when she was younger. After finally breaking away from the clones, she decides to release Maul from imprisonment so he can create a diversion. And let's just say, he did that. Ahsoka researches in the system to figure out what Rex meant, and she finds Fives' discovery about the inhibitor chips. She locates Rex and takes him to a medical station to try and find his chip. Through using the Force, she finds it and performs an operation to remove it. Once removed, Rex is back to himself and the two need to find a way off the ship for survival. They have no other option but to fight off the rest of the clones still affected by Order 66. However, they refuse to kill them, only setting their weapons to stun. The ship begins to crash towards an unknown planet and Maul escapes on a separate transport. Ahsoka and Rex struggle to find a way off while having to fight off each and every clone, but eventually they find a Y-wing where they end up escaping. The ship crashes and every member of the ship dies. Ahsoka buries the clones that died in the crash, and at that moment, Ahsoka and Rex lose their former friends and brothers because of something they could not control. Ahsoka also decides to leave her lightsabers behind to fake her death. Years later, Darth Vader finds Ahsoka's lightsabers and keeps them. If you look closely, you will also see Morai the Owl looking down on Vader. This moment concludes the Clone Wars series. After Order 66, Ahsoka attends the funeral of Padme Amidala and even has a small moment with Bail Organa. Afterwards, she decided she needs to stay in hiding from the Empire, so she renames herself to Ashla and works as a mechanic and attempted to lay low. However, her attempt in laying low was jeopardized very early in an event where Ahsoka uses the Force to save a fellow worker. This shows she still has the traits of a Jedi, even years later. Unfortunately, she was caught, and somebody informed the Empire of Ahsoka being a Force wielder, and a mysterious Inquisitor arrives. The two duel, and Ahsoka is at a massive disadvantage without a lightsaber. However, we get to see how truly strong she is. After this altercation, Ahsoka then decides to join Bail Organa and the Rebellion. She goes by the codename Fulcrum and serves as an informant and aids the rebels in their cause. We next see Ahsoka in the show Star Wars Rebels, which takes place about 5 years before A New Hope, and Ahsoka is approximately the age of 32 at this time. In the series, she reunites with her old friend, Captain Rex. The two share a beautiful moment together, and they also recruit Rex to join the Rebellion. You might notice in Star Wars Rebels that she appears in the show with brand new white lightsabers, but how did she get these? Ahsoka was able to form white lightsabers by defeating an Inquisitor and purifying the red color of the kyber crystals. Once these crystals are purified, the kyber crystals turn to its natural color, which is white. A little later in the show, the rebels find themselves in a pursuit against Darth Vader with Ahsoka with them. Vader senses Ahsoka is on the ship and is surprised to learn that his once Padawan indeed survived. Ahsoka senses Vader and is horrified by this and even faints in the process. Some time after this, in an emotional sequence, Ahsoka finally faces off against her former master and they duel. Ahsoka slices off half of Vader's helmet, and in Anakin's voice he looks at Ahsoka and says,
Ahsoka.
Anakin.
Ahsoka doesn't want to leave Anakin behind. She did that before when she left the Order, and she doesn't want to do this again. She doesn't want to be gone from him, but sadly, Anakin was gone.
I won't leave you. Not this time.
Then you will die.
In this process, Ahsoka is supposed to die at this very moment. Rex and the rest of the Rebels crew believed Ahsoka to be dead, but 2 years later, a young Jedi named Ezra Bridger learns of what is called the World Between Worlds. The World Between Worlds was a realm that allowed one to control all of space and all of time. In here, Ezra finds Ahsoka's owl, Morai, and Morai leads him to a portal, where he is able to rescue Ahsoka from her own very death. He pulls Ahsoka out from the fight, and it saves her. Emperor Palpatine senses this attempt to save Ahsoka and tries to break the two up as they split up. Ahsoka makes a promise that she will find Ezra again. In the finale of the show Rebels, Ezra saves the Rebels crew and sacrifices himself into hyperspace with the villain Grand Admiral Thrawn. Years later, after Return of the Jedi, Ahsoka sets on a journey to fulfill her promise with the Mandalorian named Sabine Wren. This leads us up to the point of the new Ahsoka series. We also get to see Ahsoka in live action in moments in the show The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. It was a really beautiful moment to actually see her have an interaction with Luke Skywalker, and it was just such a pinnacle point for Star Wars fans.
So much like your father.
Ahsoka's character received a lot of hate during her early ages, but over time, as you see her character development, you see her grow up, and she becomes such a lovable character. Fans have truly become attached to Ahsoka, and it's led to her now having her own show. I've included a few helpful videos in the description for even more information on some of the topics we covered today. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you always.